So whether you want a quick after-work escape, a long weekend challenge, or just an excuse to soak up Colorado's beauty, I want you to stick around. Because today I'm breaking down the best hikes in Golden, including trails where you can hike for miles without seeing the same views twice, where we personally train for grueling high mileage days, and how you might just run into a bear, moose, or elk along the way. So if you're ready, let's hit the trail. Now, Golden isn't just another Colorado town with a couple of scenic trails. It's a training ground, a nature escape, a wildlife sanctuary. You can take a hike for hours and never repeat the same terrain. You can build strength with your challenging climbs that rival any mountain route. And you're guaranteed to run into some wildlife, sometimes up close and personal. So when we were training for rim to rim, we needed steep ascents to prep for the canyon walls. We needed long rolling miles to build the endurance, and we also needed hours on our feet to get used to carrying a pack for the entire day. You know what, Golden? It had it all. We could lace up our boots and hike through forests, along ridges, and across wildflower-covered meadows without ever leaving town. And now I'm going to share the best hikes that will push your limits and leave you speechless with their beauty. So first up is Lookout Mountain Trail. Now this one's a classic with a beautiful view. And the length is about 4.6 miles and it's moderate difficulty level. And this is amazing because it's perfect for steady uphill climbs with killer views of Denver, Golden, and even Pikes Peak. And it's not uncommon to see deer grazing along the trail in the early morning. Oh, and a fun fact, Buffalo Bill Cody is buried at the summit. So this hike is part workout and part history lesson. All right, next up is North Table Mountain. Now this one is the locals' favorite for distance. The length is about 7.5 miles. It's a loop, but there's plenty of shorter options and it's moderate level difficulty. But it's amazing because the rolling terrain lets you get in the miles without the extreme elevation gain. And the wildflowers in the spring are absolutely amazing. But I do have to warn you, this is prime rattlesnake territory in the summer, so be sure to stay on the trail and watch your step. But if you are hiking this trail, take the Mesa Top Trail for the best sunrise views. All right, next up is White Ranch Park. Now this one's the ultimate endurance test. It has multiple trails, but the Rawhide and Longhorn Loop, about 5.1 miles, is a favorite, and it's moderate to hard difficulty level. Now this one has steady climbs, fast descents, and long trails that are going to make it feel like you're deep into the mountains. And for wildlife, if you hike early or late, you might just see moose, deer, or even black bears. So what makes White Ranch Park unique compared to some of the other Golden trails? Well, it's one of the few places in the area where you can camp overnight, so this makes it for a great option for a quick local getaway. All right, next up is Windy Saddle to Beaver Brook. This one is the best hidden gem. It's about 9.8 miles round trip, but there certainly are shorter routes. Difficult level is moderate to hard, but if you want a less crowded trails with big payoffs, this one is your pick. You'll get forested paths, rocky cliffs, and insane solitude. In regards to the wildlife, the elk love this area in the fall. So if you hear a strange bugling sound, don't be alarmed. It's just the elk. But you're going to want to pack a snack and stop at the Beaver Brook Overlook because it's one of the best spots in Golden for just a great quiet moment. All right, next up is Centennial Cone. This one is the best all-day adventure, and the length is probably about 12 to 13 miles round trip. Certainly there are smaller sections, and it's moderate to hard difficulty level. So if you love longer, uninterrupted hikes with fewer crowds, I'll tell you, Centennial Cone is a dream. You'll find rolling meadows, rocky cliffs, and stunning views of Clear Creek Canyon. And let's talk about wildlife, because it's one of the best places near Golden to see elk herds in the winter. Just take note, Centennial Cone has a rotating schedule. Some days are for hikers, some are for mountain bikers, so be sure to check ahead before you head out the door. Now, if you're looking for a more relaxed route, I want you to drop me a line, and I will certainly give you a couple of different options like the Clear Creek Trail. This one is a relaxed scenic walk, because on this route, you'll see ducks, herons, and even beavers along the creek. Lots of fun. And if you want to know where the best spot is for a post-hike coffee or maybe a beer along Clear Creek, well, then I'm going to point you in the direction of downtown Golden, where you can grab coffee at Windy Saddle Cafe, or maybe a post beer at the Golden Mill, or some good food at Miner Saloon. Now, if you hike in Golden long enough, you're certainly going to run into wildlife, as I had mentioned. So these are the ones that I have seen personally on the trail. Now, deer almost everywhere, especially at dawn and at dusk. We've seen elk, huge herds in the winter, especially near Centennial Cone. We've actually witnessed a black bear. It's occasionally spotted at White Ranch and Beaver Brook. Now, moose, while rare, but if you're lucky, you might just catch one near Centennial Cone. That's where we saw one. So what's the best way to avoid surprising wildlife on the trail? Well, make noise, talk, clap, or wear a bear bell, especially in the morning and evening hours. But whether you're training for something epic or maybe you're just looking for an adventure close to home, these trails that I mentioned will push you, inspire you, and leave you certainly speechless with their beauty. Now, if I didn't mention your favorite Golden hike, I want you to drop a comment below because I certainly want to add that to my list. So now that you know the best hikes in Golden, how are you going to stay active when you're not on the trail? Now, believe it or not, there's a sport taking over Colorado, and Littleton is becoming a major hotspot for it. So have you ever tried pickleball? It's blowing up right now, and I've got the inside scoop on why you need to check it out. So be sure to watch the next video on why pickleball in Littleton. This way you can see why it's not just a game, it's actually a lifestyle. But until then, remember, life is short. Live somewhere awesome and be well. We'll see you next week.